Hello everyone, I am Michael. Today I will show you my news headline generator that I made using TextGenRNN and Pandas and NumPy. This dataset took a million news headlines from the Australian news source ABC, or the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, and it comes in as 21 megabyte CSV file, and it has two columns, the date of when it was published, and just the headline text, and that's it. And there's everything starting from 2003 all the way to the end of 2020. So taking this giant corpus of work, I want to see if I can generate something pretty good out of it using a neural network. The first parameter we can change is the word level. We set it to true if we want to treat each individual word as like one unit. If this is false, it will treat every letter as its own individual unit. We have a few other settings relating to the neural network, the max length, and the max words. If we want to generate a new model, we're going to load the data set in, and we're going to do a quick bit of exploratory data analysis just to see what we have in this data set. Here we can see the data frame shape, the very initial data frame shape. We can see here that it has over 1 million entries and only 2 columns. And this reflects what we saw on the Kaggle website. Here's the first data entry. We can see it was published on 2003 in February 19th. And it says ABA decides against community broadcasting license something something something. You can see there are no null values in the data set, so that's good. But not all the headlines are unique. So we're just going to drop some of the duplicate headlines. And we also remove 50% of the data because to actually train this data set and to do that whole process, it actually takes quite a few hours, and the more data you have, the harder time and the longer it will take to train. So this is the final size. We have 500,000 headlines. And also taking out 50% of the data, we'll be able to use this other 50% later on if we ever need to. After all that is done, we're going to turn the headline texts into a NumPy array. We initialize a new model, and then we train on the text. And here we just specify all the parameters from before. Then after the training is done, this process takes a few hours. We save the model to a HDF5 file. And this will allow us to just load it up super quickly after and just be able to use it over and over again. If we set generate new model to false, it will just load the exact model from memory. And then finally I define an array that's just going to go from 0.1 all the way to 1 with increments of 0.1. And we'll use that as the temperatures. And here the temperatures are a gauge of how wild and kind of wacky everything will get. The more brand new data is going to try and generate. So a temperature close to 0 is going to be very mundane. It's going to be reflecting the patterns that the neural network sees a lot. But the higher the temperature, the more it's going to try and generate new things together. It's going to throw more different words together. So what this is going to do is, first it's going to generate a bunch of different samples from whatever it wants. And these other ones, we're going to start kind of from the seed. We're going to start from this word, and we're going to build off of it. And here we can see our low temperature results for temperature 0.1. We can see it's repeating a lot of the same stuff. But here we're starting to get a little bit more different words. Let's see, it really likes police probe, fatal crash for some reason. And here for temperature 0.4, we can see more difference. New South Wales government urged to consider new police. You can see is the temperature in the middle. It's generating stuff that kind of makes sense. Australian company facing further charges. Queensland police officer charged with murder over fatal pursuit. Like, these sound somewhat real. Sometimes it seems to end on these words that we normally wouldn't end sentences on. Alright, next we're moving on to the COVID-19 prefix. At the lower temperatures, it just says COVID-19. COVID-19 for bushfire victims. I sure hope not. That sounds horrible. COVID-19 killed by Prime Minister. Sure. Next I did coronavirus. I can see it really likes putting the word Queensland after coronavirus. Now this is one of the provinces of Australia, so this makes sense. This dataset also shows some of the biases you can get in datasets, as if you're an American or a Canadian, you might not know what Queensland is. So having like this entire data set be based entirely off of only one news source in one country. It's going to be skewed towards one certain type of news. And here we have temperature at 0.1 for Canada. To see what the Australians think of Canada. There seems to be a lot of stuff with Canada in Iraq, and a lot of kind of grisly, nasty criminal stuff as well. Canada is set to take over Hong Kong. Now that's surprising. Yeah, so that's been the news generator that I made. Quite a few interesting results that it's able to create. And this is just through picking up patterns in the data set. This is some of the things you can do with a neural network. Alright everyone, thank you for watching.